Carolyn and Roger Perron move their 5 girls into a dilapidated old farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island, in 1971. Except for the dog, who declines to enter the house on the first day, the family settles in smoothly. That night, the children play a game called Hide and Clap, and one of the girls discovers a boarded-up entrance to a cellar while playing. The family retires to bed after Roger inspects the cellar with a match. Carolyn is concerned because the dog outside is barking and one of the girls feels someone pulling at her feet. Carolyn awakens with a mysterious bruise, and their dog Sadie is discovered deceased. Various paranormal activities occur over the next few days, doors open and shut apparently by themselves, and Carolyn hears clapping when no one is present. Cindy, their young daughter, sleepwalks into the oldest daughter's bedroom and repeatedly bangs her head against an old wardrobe. The eldest daughter is attacked by a spirit that resembles an elderly lady at the end of the activity. Carolyn seeks the assistance of renowned paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren to validate her fears. Lorraine suspects that a malevolent spirit has taken a liking to the household. They perform an initial investigation and decide to get involved, informing the Perron family that the home may need an exorcism. This, however, cannot be accomplished without additional proof and authorization from the Catholic Church. Ed and Lorraine discover that the house belonged to an accused witch, Bathsheba, while researching its past. Bathsheba committed suicide after her husband discovered her sacrificing their week-old infant. She ascended to the top of a tree on the property, cursed all those who would take her land, and declared her love for Satan. This is followed by reports of multiple murders and suicides in houses constructed on the property since. Drew, another paranormal investigator, and a police officer accompany Ed and Lorraine back to the home. They install thermal cameras and alarm systems throughout the house in an effort to prove Bathsheba's spirit is present and obtain permission from the Catholic Church. Nothing occurs the first night, and the clocks do not stop at 3:07 a.m. They all eat breakfast together the next day, and Roger Perron thanks Ed Warren for doing what they can to assist. Ed explains that every exorcism they perform takes a piece of his wife Lorraine with it, but he promises they will do everything they can to assist them. Nothing seems to happen during another night of investigation until nightfall, when Cindy starts to sleepwalk again. Thermal cameras detect a temperature decrease around her as she enters the wardrobe, prompting the door to slam shut behind her. The others break into the room and discover a hidden passage behind the wardrobe. Lorraine enters the wardrobe after Cindy is removed and slips through the floorboards into the cellar. There, she witnesses the spirits of people possessed by Bathsheba and realizes Bathsheba's plan, to possess mothers and use them to murder their children. Lorraine and Ed take their proof to Father Gordon to arrange an exorcism while the Perron family seeks refuge at a hotel after escaping the cellar. Carolyn abruptly drives back to the home with 2 of the daughters, interrupting their relief. Ed and Lorraine race to the house, where they find Roger and the police officer grappling with Carolyn, who is attempting to stab one of her daughters with a pair of scissors. Lorraine reminds Ed that the priest is too far away to come and conduct the exorcism, so Ed must do it himself. While the others restrain Carolyn, Ed resumes the exorcism. Carolyn appears to cease struggling, and for a brief moment, it appears that the exorcism was successful. Her chairs suddenly turn over and she is held upside down. Ed screams at the demon to put her down, and she is released onto the ground after a few tense moments. Carolyn is rushed over by Ed, who orders the demon to depart her body. Carolyn turns slowly to Ed and says, "She's already gone." Meanwhile, Drew discovers April lurking beneath the kitchen floorboards. He yells down the cellar that he discovered her, which alerts Carolyn's demon, and she dashes up the cellar stairs to locate April in order to complete the sacrifice. Ed and Lorraine Warren, along with Roger, rush up the steps after her to prevent her from carrying out her plan. Carolyn, possessed, pursues April through a tunnel beneath the floors. Carolyn grabs April's hand, but Lorraine reaches down through the floor and takes Carolyn's head. She tells Carolyn to remember how important her family is to her, and to remember what she told her about how special they are to her and how much she would miss them if she followed through with it. Carolyn appears to understand, as her countenance relaxes and her breathing returns to normal. She sets April down as the demonic presence in her eyes fades. Carolyn is helped out of the front entrance, and the scene shifts to a now sunny morning. As she steps through the doorway and into the sunshine, the bruises on her skin fade and she returns to her normal self. Roger and Carolyn celebrate with their family in the front yard, hugging each other, relieved that it is finally over. The Warrens return to their residence after exorcising the demon at the Perron household. The action shifts to Ed Warren entering his room filled with possessed items and artifacts. He puts the house's old music box on an empty shelf area. Lorraine walks into the room and they depart together. After a few seconds, the music box begins to play on its own, and the camera moves back to it. The camera zooms in on the open music box's reflection, and the music gradually stops. The screen goes black, and the credits begin to play.